Radio check, radio check. Well, welcome race fans and konnichiwa to Kyoto for today's Deviant Racing GT3 World Challenge race at the driving park here at Kyoto. It is the Yamagiwa circuit configuration. A fiendishly difficult high-speed cornering challenge awaits our drivers as we wait then to see everybody. I have got the exposure turned up for obvious reasons. We're about to go into a sunset type of race. So it's important that for this race we make sure that we can see the cars later on. But obviously it looks a little bit overexposed for the initial period of the broadcast. It's Nismo here with the Rexy colour scheme for Team Spotify in the Lamborghini Huracan, as we know and love indeed. Flashing the lights as well. Nismo leads our championship at the moment with the drop score already, and he is on 72 points, with Zen in second place, teammate Zen on 60 after a drop score. We have Glovas, reigning champion, in third place on 54 points. Komakopa has 43 in fourth, then Camzilla has 38 in fifth. Then we get Chaotica in sixth place on 37 points. On 35 is in seventh is Zanshin. Dirksey is joint eighth with Floody on 33 points, and we have Mercury and Preston 29 and 28, taking us to the P11 position in the championship, above the potential relegation line pre any post-season playoffs. Then in 12th we have Don't Need Time on 27. He is so close to Preston's 28 points. And then T-Deeds and B-Boop look to be virtually guaranteed to be in that relegation position. Let's ride on board with our championship leader as things stand, and that is Nismo, as we head into the very fast and flowing turn number 1 and tackle this one at fairly high speed. We're in the soft tyres here in qualifying, as you would expect. Now, if you time your acceleration through here, it can be just a simple case of lifting off, but it's so easy to unsettle the car. Now we're going to be running and we're going to be cruising and floating the car with the minimum braking input possible into this turn at the far west of the circuit. Then we've got significant elevation change of the big drop downhill. The car gets unsettled if you stay left at that point. Then you're going to be braking fairly early downhill, try and monster these curbs and smash the throttle on the way through the second part of the chicane to get up the hill with the best momentum possible. Quick turn right over the crest of the next one before we head down into the hairpin, and you can again approach at quite high speed, but make sure you kiss that apex and get down on the throttle as quickly as possible. We have a very, very difficult chicane to follow, and that we need to take full advantage of the apex through the left-hander before again stomping on the throttle, and then once again into slightly wider hairpin down to second gear. You can take a very late apex quite often on this Yamagiwa circuit at Kyoto Driving Park before then hitting the throttle and heading down towards the line. Zen has the fastest lap so far. Nismo takes it away, straight on the pace is Nismo on a 1:34.331. We'll join Zen, who is next up on the he's actually first on the track, so we'll follow him as we say hello to Danny and to everybody else watching us. If you want a shout out, do pop in to say hello on the chat and tell me who you're here to support as well, if you would be so kind. This then is Zen. We've got Matt in the pits. IJV is currently in 5th place. Copa splitting the Spotify cars at this stage, and it's going to be a very, very interesting race here. The margin for error is so tiny at this circuit, and it's so easy to go offline and lose the car. This then, the familiar sight of the incomplete steering wheel here of the Lamborghini Huracan. Fairly cautious into the chicane is Zen at this particular time, as he's about to close out his second flying lap. We have a 3.1 meter per second, what's that, 9 something feet per second northerly wind on the circuit, crosswind for many of our corners, but Zen pits not happy with that particular lap. This one though is Copa on board the Scuderia Ferrari as he tries to get the car locked into the apex of the final turn. We might be headed pit lane just the same. We're not from Copa. He fancies this lap. He's only 44 thousandths of a second away from the top time. No, he's not. He's got the provisional pole of 1:34.168. Nismo's back out on his outlap. Let's try and find you a driver who's about to complete a lap. It's IJV, and I may have the wrong. Let me see. That's Izzy. Yeah, I think we need nicknames. Am I right? So that we know who everybody is. This then is Izzy in 5th place. Bongit currently in 6th, just in front of him on track. Let's have a look at Bongit's lap time. It's quite a bit slower, 1 second slower. I think possibly a bit of a slowdown, but Izzy is near enough to his fast time. Copa from Nismo from Zen is your current standings, with over half of qualifying already finished. We are qualifying very, very quickly indeed. I can talk to you a little bit about the Constructors' Championships, or the Teams' Championship, I should say. That sees Spotify on 214 points. This is combined with the GT4 World Challenge, of course. Team Special K have 136 in second. Then we have Mountain Dew, who have 127 points. Team Brondo are 4th with 110. Team Puma Porsche 104, gaining a position in 5th, and Team Zin dropping a position on an even 100. And then down at the back at the moment is Team Coca-Cola on 56. Camzilla is, parked up in the Mazda, not able to do anything, and then we join his teammate in the Mazda, screeching through the next few corners. This is S. Berman. He's currently only 8th place, and there you can see just climbing over the apex and dealing with the reaction of the car as we head in. It's very misty today at Yamagiwa for this sunset time period race that we are going to have for us. Obviously, as I mentioned, I have turned the temporary exposure right up there. And this then S. Berman passing his teammate. I wonder if Camzilla has had a mechanical there, as we see Chaotica's in 9th, Preston in 10th with Mercury and Don't Need Time. But let's go back to, let's see Nismo, shall we? Through his next portion of the lap. He is only just over a 1/10 of a second away from provisional pole. He's already gained that pole once, and now he's nearly half a second to the good through sector 2. This looks to be a very good lap so far from Nismo. Seems to be just sorting himself out a little bit over the first big chicane. Let's see if he can get the car neatly down into the apex here. Just slowly down through the gears, kiss the apex and up onto the throttle. Super wide entry here. Try and avoid the curb on the right if you can, because it will unsettle the car when you most need the grip. Just taking advantage of the suspension reaction through the left-hand portion and then down into the final corner. Very slow, very wide, and we should see some overtaking opportunities through here during the course of the race. We avoid the pit lane on the left, we avoid the master on the right before heading through, and that is another new pole position by 2/10 of a second. But you have to say, leaving a bit of time out there in the second half of the circuit was Nismo. This is teammate Zen about to cross over his portion. I think he's heading in towards the pit lane on this lap. He's some 2 seconds down. This is Komakopa about to cross the line. Personal best from Komakopa, but couldn't do better. Down 3rd position. What news of reigning champion Glovas? Well, he is currently 3rd in our championship this season. And next up then, we will see how his lap goes on. This is the Corvette, of course, as you can hear that low, deep growl of the Chevy engine. Contrast that to the screech of the Mazda. It's quite considerable here in the difference between the GT3s in terms of sound. Anyway, Corvette just getting through the first of the big hairpins, and then similar approach here. We've got a very quick, I'd be surprised if the game allows that lap, but it has seeming to. No, half a second off throttle will be the penalty for Glovas, or at least added to his time. So I think we might head towards the pit lane, because I don't know that this is going to help him. Well, he's happy to continue. Despite the half-second penalty, he may get a better lap in, but that's a 1:51.501 from Glovas, and the penalty will take effect in the next lap out there. Let's have a look at Izzy, shall we? Before he goes through his next run. We're on the final lap for our drivers. This then to see his progress. He's only 41/100ths of a second away from his best, but that was a big slide into the first chicane. Final laps being completed. This is Komakopa about to finish off, and it's no better from Komakopa. Safety car has come out to indicate to the drivers that the day's qualifying is done. This is Glovas and Izzy. Let's have a look perhaps at Chaotica, shall we, who is very late into his final run. Off throttle through there, and that's a 31-second slower time, so I don't think we'll be going any quicker from him. So it looks to be Nismo. Bongit has gone into 2nd position. Unreal from Bongit, right at the death for the Team Puma Porsche. We have Spotify Puma, Spotify Ferrari, and Special K, sorry, Coca-Cola, isn't it, for them, and it is the Porsche RSR of Bongit, who gets himself up onto the 2nd position grid slot for our race. What a finish to qualifying for Bongit. Just 9/100ths of a second away from the pole. Sorry, 900th away from 3rd position. He is 1.124 of a second away from pole. It is, though, Nismo who leads us in the championship and leads us in qualifying. We will be underway for our race very shortly indeed. Keep an eye on that text chat on the left here, as Kiros Kai says, Bongit ninja that one. Definitely did indeed. But yeah, keep your eye on that text chat, because the safety car lap will be announced on that position. So we shall. I often miss that, unfortunately, but let's see. That's so new records for a number of drivers on their previous runs. This is Nismo on a 33.7, Bongit on a 33.8 in second. Then comes Zen and Komakopa, all the US drivers beaten out by Nismo, the Dutchman, and our Canadian Bongit. Zen ahead of Komakopa in fourth, with Glovas fifth, Izzy sixth, S. Berman 7th, and Don't Need Time is 8th. Chaotica is 9th position, Camzilla in 10th. Preston, Mercury, T-Deeds and Arcane outside of the top 10 in that order. Of course, Arcane will be the driver of our Dodge Charger Hellcat safety car for the penultimate time of this season. We have the required tyres are for the hards and the mediums, and that will very much depend on how the drivers get the safety car lap announcement. Kuroskai says 22. It was a fairly large window for the safety car. I think it was like lap 8 to 29 or something was the window, but Cam saying, sorry, was that Arcane? Excuse me, my live chat has just died on my second screen. There we go. Safety car lap 22 says Kuroskai. Let's get this organised and everything together for you. Hope everyone's enjoying their Sunday, wherever they are in the world today, and getting comfortable and ready for the race. This is the penultimate race of season 3.3. We will be underway for that race. I'm not getting the text chat confirmation, so we will assume that lap 22 is indeed correct before we get ready for the race of this Yamagiwa configuration of the fantastic Kyoto driving park. Ready to get underway. Standing start here as we will run through to lap 22 for the full course caution. It is 5 lights on and we're ready to race. And it's dropped the clutch and go, go, go. It looked a little slow from Zen on the initial reaction, and the Porsche Puma has been absolutely swamped of Bongit. They will run into turn 1, and it is a very quick turn 1, although out on the marbles is Zen at this stage. We've got Nismo ahead of Komakopa, ahead of Zen, with Klubas right fully alongside. They are completely offline running through the corner. The Mazdas are off on the grass as well as they run through, and it has been an absolute shocker for Bongit, down to 5th position from 2nd on the grid as they head into another fast flowing corner here into sector 2 of our 1 hour race. Globas getting the outside line through the widest corner here, the fastest corner on the circuit. Then we're going to go down in towards the chicane for the first time. Nismo with a decent lead here. Izzy very late on the brakes in the Puma Porsche, and no major accidents and incidents happening at this stage. It looks like Berman and Arcane, well, Berman certainly has had a real shocker of a start, but everybody else away nicely as the safety car runs through, and we run out of our first hairpin here, and the car's very neatly and tidily together. That's T-Deeds down, having lost some ground as well. Nismo trying to drop the hammer. Komakopa lighting up the rears for the Special K Ferrari and losing ground on the way into the final corner, and he's stuck out on the outside, going to have to feather the throttle and cut back here. He doesn't want to be fully off onto the grass on cold tyres. Hard tyres for our main starters here. It looks like top 3 for drivers, with the 5th place medium runner is Izzy in the Puma Porsche with the purple livery today. As we run through, we'll check out those liveries in detail. That was Komakopa making contact, and you heard the thud of the car as we went through. Let's try and track what just happened with Komakopa. Here he is trying to get round. He gets tucked down and I think just grounded out the car on the apex, unfortunately, and just lost a little bit of ground there, down to 5th position, but the lead is still very much in sight here for him as Izzy draws alongside Glovas as they head down towards the chicane here for the second time of asking. Izzy with the fastest sector on the racetrack and neat and tidy in, but Glovas with a full slide in the Mountain Dew Chevy and completely out of position there. Let's have a look how that went down. He was offline, well, certainly on the braking line, but I think squeezed to the outside, trying to get the line through. He might just have had enough room on the racetrack, but unfortunately out on the marbles, and that paid to Globas's position, down to 13th place for Globas. Absolute shocker through there. Mr. Roboto is on Zen's nose of his Spotify Lamborghini Huracan, but the Rexy car that has served Nismo so well in races previous is back on it and at the lead of the race. Normal service then very much for Spotify P1 and P2, with Izzy on the medium tyres running in P3 at this stage for the purple Puma Porsche. We've got the Comacopa in a new deviant black, grey and white fade pattern here in the car, as that looks like, is that Bongit having difficulties? Bongit off the circuit, and I think has contacted Preston as well. This is Bongit trying to get through that first corner at speed, gets out on the grass, spins up the car, looks like, and then someone is going to go off. Preston going off in sympathy. That was not actually an issue for him from Bongit's unsafe rejoin, so to speak. That was just Preston slipping off the circuit all by himself. We've got Japanese rising sun, star-shaped Japanese excellent little end plates on the rear wing there of the second Spotify car for Zen. This then is Izzy on the better tyres at this stage, the softer compound of the two, and Izzy's got the Colombian flag on one side and the US flag on the other on his end plates. Nice bit of class there, and a great overtake from Izzy. Let's have a look at that once again as we run through. A brutal track, says Danny. You're absolutely right. I actually did some practice laps earlier on today, and I was utterly hopeless doing the job and doing the track familiarity circuit experience runs. Was no good at all. Izzy then wide entry into the corner, but into second position, and you don't often see one of the Spotify drivers getting past. Yes, there's a small advantage at this stage on the medium tyre, which will disintegrate and drop off very quickly for Izzy, but a nice start from him. Zen in third, Comacopa in fourth, going back through the order. Don't Need Timers in fifth in the Renault, and then Chaotica racing US Air Force colours in sixth. Mercury's in seventh for Team Coca-Cola. The Zin car, the Zin Mazda for Camzilla is in eighth. Berman in ninth. Globas on the recovery at this stage, still on the hard tyre there. Most of the grid have gone for the hard tyre. Globas in 10th, TD's in 11th, Bongit down in 12th position on the hard tyre, and then Preston out there as well with another accident, and he's in a bad way because he's on the medium tyre as well. Arcane has got a long wait, and he's giving up valuable GT4 World Challenge practice time here, Arcane, in his safety car duties. Oh, and Zen very wide. That's super uncharacteristic of Zen. Izzy looked like to be losing grip, but Zen running fully out wide, out on the circuit, and I think about to lose the position as well. Hirio through down into the second chicane for Zen. Any hint of being offline? He did touch that inside curb, and then almost wiped our camera position out. It looks like it's going to be potentially Zen being challenged by Comacopa, and here it is in towards turn one. Comacopa catching beautifully and down into turn one. It's a tighter line, should end up with a slightly worse exit for Comacopa, and he is out wide there. Anatole just confirming safety car lap is 22. Thanks so much for that. And racing through very quick corners we go. It is a frighteningly fast flowing first half of this circuit, and then it gets absolutely horrid through the second half of the circuit. Comacopa a little way away from the racing line means that his rear wheels are getting nibbled at by Zen. Certainly the diffuser at the back. Don't Need Time has picked up a half second off throttle penalty as well, and down we go, downhill, heavy braking, get really early on the braking through there as well, and I will not be surprised to see several drivers changing their brake balance through the course of the lap. This is Don't Need Time then in the Stars and Stripes, celebrating, I'm assuming, No, there is some sort of military livery on there, I think. So I'll have a look at that as well. Ricky saying pretty clean racing. Absolutely great to have you back with us as well, Ricky, after our racing last night. It's very bright, and there is a reason for that. I have turned up the exposure. I may have overdone it. We will see later on when the sun has set. Nismo leads us at this time on the hard tyre, but Izzy is in second place on the mediums and catching. These headlights are absolutely crazy. Some of the drivers were complaining, actually, on their PS5s that there is a little bit of frame rate stutter as the sun starts to set later on. Unfortunately, I have to pick my exposure correction at the start of the race, and I'm stuck with it. This is Komakopa running through. It doesn't help that GT7 does these reverse-looking cameras all the time. Zen hits the wall. Zen out onto the wall that time. Let's ride with him through the replay as we go. This is the first half of the circuit. Did we get too much curb here at all? Or not enough? Actually, not enough through there. That spits him into the apex of the following turn and hits the line nastily there for Zen, and that puts the Spotify Huracan in very unfamiliar territory, down in fourth and defending from Chaotica behind, and don't need time catching as well. We have a three-way battle for fourth. Nismo leads, Izzy and Komakopa up the road, but Zen in very, very unfamiliar position here of fourth place right now. This is pre-pit stops, and he's also chewing up those hard tyres at a fair rate of knots as well. It's only lap 6. We are 10 minutes deep into our 1 hour race. Looked like a bit of action going on there for Mercury and Camzilla. Mercury gets out onto the grass and I think has just ruined what was otherwise a beautiful overtake. Let's have a look from him. He's out wide at this stage. Looks like he's managed to get the nose in, and he did get the overtake done and was just a little bit over speedy through the first chicane there. It's Mercury v Camzilla. Camzilla going for the inside line, then deep down into turn 1. It's a nice profile corner here, and if you can claim that inside, then if you do end up with a little bit of cool tyre or dirty tyre situation, you can at least correct and wait for the tyres to grip in. And you can see the sun is setting already for our drivers. This is the battle for 7th place. Mercury just missing out. Camzilla on the hard tyres. Nearly all the drivers currently on that hard tyre. Back to the front though, and Izzy is doing his best here to try and catch Nismo. Similar lap times. In fact, Izzy has the fastest lap at this stage, but those medium tyres are well past their best as he climbs the hill with much better traction. Izzy definitely catching here, just 0.6 of a second separating them, and to make this strategy work and be in with a shout of a win at the end of the race, Izzy desperately needs to make the pass soon because he doesn't want to be following Nismo for too long or stuck on Nismo's strategy here. Car 182, the purple Puma Porsche, as we run into lap 7 and the sun is setting. So I think we have done okay with our exposure settings here. This is the battle for the lead of our race. Fastest lap with Izzy so far, and that one was a lot slower, so I think the tyres definitely letting go. His fastest lap 4, Nismo's fastest lap 5, but they are in decline now. That's Komakopa in 3rd, Chaotica in 4th. We have Don't Need Time and Zen 5th and 6th position. Camzilla has gapped Mercury. Globas is on the humpback after an early mistake there in the Mountain Dew Chevy, with Berman in 10th. Bongit started 2nd, and a really sloppy first lap there. Went from indecent exposure to decent exposure. Good line from Kuroskai. That's 11th place for Bongit. Preston also had an off early on in 12th, and T-Deeds at the back of the grid, still on his starting tyres, racing in a new livery that I can't quite make out at this stage. We will be able to have a look, certainly in the pit lane, if not during the safety car period on lap 22, at the liveries in detail. This is Izzy absolutely hounding the back of series leader and race leader Nismo in the Rexy liveried Lamborghini Huracan. He's not going for the musical theme on his liveries. I think he's found a lucky one and he's sticking with it. So here we go then, just 0.6 of a second. Let's ride on board, shall we, with Izzy in VR as well. Izzy and Komakopa going that extra level of difficulty, and pitting because he's feeling a little bit held up here is Izzy. So we'll wait to see the car up close as the pit crew wait for him. We're waiting. Here it is. You get a really good view of the car in the pit lane. And this then is the Porsche dropping down the order. Don't need timers pitted at exactly the same point. Now we're riding on board with Komakopa in third position. We are 9.8 seconds away from the lead, and we are hunting down Komakopa, who is, as I mentioned earlier, also driving in the PSVR 2 system. This is Chaotica riding as a sort of unbuckled passenger, as it were, heading down into turn 5. This is the fastest corner on the racetrack. Just drop one gear usually, get down to the apex if you're running time trial times, or at least on the hard tyre anyway. Down the gears, waiting then for the car to grip in. It feels slow, but trust me, it is anything but this circuit, as we are gaining pretty quickly here on Chaotica. Hard tyres, running low on fuel already. Fuel only lasting, full tank lasting only 10 laps and 14 minutes so far for our drivers. How's it looking for Komakopa? A lot better in the Ferrari. So that is Komakopa then managing the fuel a little bit better here than Chaotica. Same tyres between the two of them. Nismo has a decent gap here of approaching 9 seconds. We've got Zen down in 4th place, usually running first or second in the Styx liveried Spotify Lamborghini. Into the pits then come the second and third drivers as we continue with Zen. I'm surprised to see Komakopa in so early. Nismo's in as well from the lead of the race, so Zen does retake the lead, and he will have some clear track in front of him for a short period of time. But we have another 12 laps to go before the safety car. So I think that Zen is trying to run 2 sets of hards back to back and then get through to the safety car period if at all possible. So extending this first stint as long as possible. We don't want to make a pit stop off sync here too much. But I think the other drivers who have just pitted only really have the option of fitting a second set of hards potentially, unless they want to do a real sprint session. But looks like not even making it halfway through to the safety car caution is the situation with the starting fuel for some of our drivers. Having been promoted now are Kamzilla, Glovas and Bonga in 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Nismo out. He's gone for the hard tyres and a full tank of fuel. The track should be gripping up a little bit better. Stealing a lot of apex through the chicane is Nismo. The game not taking any track limit abuse time penalties away from him at this stage. And we can see the lights just flashing by there. I saw a flash of light and I was a little bit concerned. Might have just seen a dash of rain, but I don't think so. I think we're okay. This is Nismo then in the Rexy. Bright green dinosaur livery here for the Lamborghini. Behind them we have Komakopa in 8th, still ahead at the moment of Chaotica. Komakopa does look a little bit slow and lumpy over that chicane in the Special K. It is a chrome white, grey, black fade we've got for the Special K car. Chaotica seems to be doing Air Force Gaming livery here. Nismo back into the lead of the race as the rest of the drivers pit at the end of lap 10 and start of lap 11. Anatol saying it can't rain on this track. Well, there you go. That's great to hear. So it was just my eyes deceiving me. So Zen running in 5th where he was before. New set of mediums for Zen. He stopped early, so he will absolutely have to take another set of another pit stop then before the safety car comes out. Drivers will probably come in if they can the 1 lap prior to the safety car. So I think that'll be lap 21. End of lap 20, start of lap 21. I anticipate the drivers will try and time that second stop. 42 minutes and a half on the clock. And Nismo continues to lead us. Let's see, where is Izzy at this stage? Well, he's lost a lot of ground on the in-lap and out-lap. Took slightly less fuel actually than Nismo, so Izzy definitely losing out here, trying to get the Porsche to grip in on those new hard tyres, and I think struggling. Izzy, I think possibly on his in-laps on the faded medium tyre, losing out and running, trying to get used to a lower grip tyre and cold, while his rival at the lead of the race, Nismo, maintained his pace nicely. There's the Air Force Gaming for the USA Air Force. I've got to get me some work with those group, right? That would be pretty cool for Chaotica's livery. Looks very nice indeed. We've got one car in the pits. I think that's just the safety car at this stage, and we've got some tight racing in the midfield. We've got Mercury down here in, I think that was 10th place. So this is Bongit having a look at Camzilla on the approach to turn 1, getting that Porsche Puma on the new medium tyres. It's going to be quick at this stage for Bongit in the number 80. Nice new livery as well, kind of avoiding the Puma colour scheme as usual, just go for white and orange. Not a combination you see often, but I'm enjoying it. And bright yellow headlights as well, which is not necessarily accurate in kind of European GT racing. The yellow headlights indicate a GT4 car, whereas the whites indicate a GT3. So not quite rendered exactly accurate for European racing anyway. And the front brake discs glowing there for Bongit, our Canadian racer today, standing in, I think, at this stage of the season. This is the penultimate round. The final round will be in 2 weeks' time at Le Mans as well, and that's going to be very, very special way to finish. Not just Le Mans, but Le Mans with no chicanes as well. So brilliant to see. This is Preston, just wiggling around, trying to find some grip on his hunt here for 10th place, belonging to Mercury at the moment. It's right on board with Preston as he's using the Red Bull overalls at this for this race. He just like stabs down through the gears, absolutely abusing the car through the corner, but trying to get that low revving, high geared Chevy to work for him. Start of the race very much has not gone to plan for Preston, unfortunately. But the Mountain Dew Chevy will have a chance later on in proceedings. Again, not going to plan. Similar themes then for Berman and for T-Deeds as well at the back of the grid. We wait then for lap 22 for our safety car driver to come out. Nismo now has a lead of 9 seconds, which is slightly futile before the safety car, but he's enjoying himself out there. Glovas has the fastest lap of 1:34.7 at this stage. And now Izzy is definitely struggling to keep the Porsche together on this hard tyre. Komakopa is on the reverse strategy of Izzy. So Komakopa now on the mediums and eyeing up that second position as we see Chaotica and Zen follow behind. I believe Zen fitted the mediums. Yes, he did, as did Chaotica. The driver's hoping to try and get a tyre change done before the safety car, I think, and then run hard, presumably, to the end of the race. That will obviously depend on their ability to run the fuel to the end of the race as well. Very pink and purple, kind of magenta, I suppose, pit lane exit there. Portion of Kyoto Driving Park. This is the Yamagiwa configuration, and that is Komakopa then screaming through the first sector in pursuit of Izzy, just 0.7 of a second away now. He's got a 1.1 second gap behind his Komakopa and looking for that opportunity down into the fastest corner now, turn 5. And then we're going to get into the slower, more difficult stuff in the next portion of this track. Downhill, you can see just how extreme that downhill is, and you're going to be hitting the brakes before you start to level out. Got to get that front axle to grip in, then you're using all of the curb on the entry of the middle portion of the chicane as well. And again, trying to get your braking done for this first hairpin. Down as low as second. We have seen on the final hairpin. We've seen at least the Chevy down into first gear. And then staying away from that curb on the entry into the second chicane is Karmakopa. Anatol saying still a tight race after 14 laps. Arcane is watching National Geographic on his on his head-up display in the safety car. It says, thanks everyone, the person that chose lap 22. Well, exactly, and I think also it's worth a mention here for him that he's got to get it done and get his practice done for the next race as well. Chaotica has some movements going on in his rear view mirrors from Zen in front, sorry, just behind. There's Zen going through the motion. Zen getting closer and closer. That is 0.2 of a second only for Zen, the gap to Chaotica. No way through really in turn 5, but he's taking a wider line for a much later exit. He'll be early up, and now the opportunity presents itself for Zen as he's going to try and get that inside line down into the chicane, but no, in fact he's just ducked out of that manoeuvre. Not happy with the level of grip on the left hand side of the circuit there was Zen. Didn't want to go for it too early. He's got to keep these medium tyres alive until prior to the safety car, when he'll do his best, I think, to try and fuel to a finish. But we did only get 10 laps of fuel into the car from at the start of this race. Fuel usage will tail off a little bit and reduce as the track grips in, but it is just brilliant stuff here in the midfield in the fight for essentially third position, well, second in fact, and that is Zen looking for that inside line ahead of behind Chaotica. The drivers are so close to one another, they're almost running into each other through that final corner. Izzy, Komakopa, Chaotica and Zen with an opportunity here, potentially into a little nibble at the rear. I think he'll have to duck out of that one to be sporting, and he does so. Doesn't want to take advantage of an accidental bump and run. So living to fight another day and keeping all the cars on the circuit at this stage. Zen looking for that better exit, but of course the cars end up moving around under the dirty air through this section as well. Over the crest we go, and Izzy defending hard into turn 5. As the Ferrari tries to have a look here. Izzy still struggling on the hard tyres on the Puma Porsche, and I think he's going to give up the position. Izzy, is he? Yes, he is. As down it we go, and it almost 3 wide, heading down into the chicane. Komakopa on the inside line. Izzy sweeping around that inside, around from the outside, and unbelievably Zen made the manoeuvre as well. Zen moving through past Chaotica down. Let's have another look at that. Arcane saying, how far ahead is Nismo? Goodness gracious, absolutely. Here comes Zen on the outside line. The car's just stacking up and queuing into the corner. Zen making the outside line work. Brilliant overtake from Zen. Absolutely love that one. An unexpected, he managed to put Chaotica offline through the corner, and then did all the work. You saw the lap prior that he wasn't happy with that opportunity, and now Zen down into third place with a better run through the second chicane as well. Zen moving forward now on the medium tyre when he absolutely has to. His lap 16, he's got to try and get 3-4 more laps out of the car if possible before pitting, so he's going to have to treat these mediums very carefully indeed. Will Zen have better luck and fortune getting through past Izzy, I wonder? Let's ride with Izzy, with Zen, sorry, as you can see the traction advantage still on those old medium tyres. Getting a little bit of grip here. Kuroskai saying going to need to put some ballast in Nismo's car. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea in the Lamborghini overall, or at least giving them a worse car to battle with. That's Izzy fully defensive here, but Zen with a better run. Zen is forced to the inside line. We know he doesn't like this as Izzy crowds him out. Both drivers making contact through the braking zone into the corner. Zen getting the switchback done, but really that was a little bit tasty between the two of them. Rubbing's racing, so they say, but Zen was trying to close it off. Izzy could have been driving fairly straight actually, but Zen just trying to get that braking zone possibly and getting over towards the cleaner side of the circuit, but Zen getting the job done and into now second position after a shaky start for Zen. He's now got track position where he wanted it to be. Who was that? That was Izzy off the circuit, sadly. Let's have a look what happened to Izzy. This is Izzy on the inside line. He's going to get too much curb, I think. Don't really want any curb on that one. And then it just helps him to a little bit of overspeed. Doesn't manage to generate the grip from hitting the gully on the next corner. And unfortunately that's through. So Komakopa and Bongit have pitted off the medium tyres ahead of schedule here, really. They're going to lose track position, I think. So this battle that was 4 or 5 way for second place has suddenly opened up massively, and the gap, to answer Arcane's question, Curious Kai's question earlier, was the gap is now 14 seconds to the good. I wonder, you know, whether our safety car drivers, maybe the one explanation for why they're often late coming out of the pit lane is they're watching the stream and forgetting that the stream is 20 seconds delayed by the time YouTube have finished encoding it for you. Zen is in second, Chaotica is in third position with Izzy in fourth. We've got Don't Need Time ahead of a small gaggle of cars, Camzilla in the lead, Zin Mazda, and then Preston in seventh. We've got Berman in the second of those Zin Mazdas with we're hitting about halfway at the circuit here through the race. Just over 30 minutes remain. Komakopa in 9th place. We have Bongit in 10th, followed by Glovas in 11th. Mercury in 12th, and T-Deeds at the back, trying to get the best out of this race that he possibly can. And I just want to make a quick look at his livery here. So the Stars and Stripes, absolutely, but I'm wondering, this is just a chrome special. I think that looks like looks a little bit like the NFL logo on the hood there, but I don't know the logo. Is that going to be baseball again from him? It's got the polar bear out there as well. But yeah, going for a Stars and Stripes Coca-Cola for the Mercedes team. This is Nismo though in the lead of our race by a huge margin. Of course, if you were to be able to get a lap done over the field, he'll be in a better position with the safety car. But I think lap cars will still be allowed to overtake and get themselves back on the lead lap. Zen is in second position and trying to get these medium tyres to a good place before he can stop. With there'll be half the race to go, just under. I don't know if that is just side of a full tank of fuel for our drivers once the safety car has finished. So we may see drivers pitting shortly after. Don't Need Time will almost certainly have run out of time for his fuel usage here in P3. He's racing the Stars and Stripes as well. Maybe just everybody celebrating the new administration about to feature in the head of the USA. Perhaps they're just celebrating democracy with their Stars and Stripes today. Or is it a veterans thing for Remembrance Day, as we call it here, the 11th of November. Of course, tomorrow, when we remember all who have fallen in wars for our sacrifice. It looks like Don't Need Time is headed in to the pits. Camzilla, Arcane saying America. Indeed. No Eagles on the car though. It is veterans. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, we call it Remembrance Day, but very similar sentiment. Camzilla in third, then promoted after Don't Need Time goes through. That's S. Berman. So the Zin Mazdas, a little bit easier on their fuel usage than their rivals, and getting through. Presumably will plan to stop at the next opportunity. This being the final pitting lap, I think, before safety car will come out. So this is the final opportunity before the full course caution. This is Nismo then, 13.9 seconds in the lead of the race, running low on fuel, but he has calculated that absolutely brilliantly, has Nismo. And we'll see just sparking through the final chicane and heading down towards that final open hairpin. Down into second. Will we take first? We will take first gear. That won't help our fuel usage, but it doesn't matter on this lap. Nismo heads towards the pit lane in the Rexy Lamborghini on the final time of asking, and Zen comes through as well. So I imagine that Zen will pit here and fueled well here as well. So Zen in the stick Spotify Lamborghini pits from second position. I think we'll see the same from Camzilla and from Berman. They've moved up the order quite nicely here. They have a big gap in front to the Spotify pairing. And there's that screaming Mazdas coming through. What will Komakopa need to do? Well, he's recently pitted. Nismo's already pitted and back out again before Komakopa comes through the final corner. So Komakopa up to second. We have Zen coming out of the pits and Chaotica alongside him. Almost. Zen holding on to position though. Chaotica trying to just tiptoe around on these medium tyres. He's actually put in slightly too much fuel potentially, has Chaotica, for that set of mediums, but it will pay off in a lack of stationary time later on. But fourth place for Chaotica. We'll wait for the safety car to make his appearance at the end of this lap. We'll also find out where Nismo is at the moment. This is Bonga in the Puma Porsche. Everyone racing until the safety car comes out, as futile as that might seem at this stage. Izzy's in sixth place, was fighting over second earlier on, but he's going to be happier on those medium tyres in the Porsche, I would imagine. Now Preston putting on a quick set of softs, presumably going to try for a fastest lap attempt on those soft tyres, but I think they're probably past their best now. Just running through the order then, Globas and Berman, T-Deeds, and where is Nismo? He is closing in on the final corner of the race. Arcane coming out of the pits, and he's just about going to make it, avoiding that white line as well. This then is Arcane for our safety car period. And Anatol saying maybe some are over-fueling to account for the extra fuel burn on the track. Yeah, it is. It's a high-speed circuit, and it's a circuit that really seems to reward very, very fast entry ability at the corners. And just you've got to be super brave into these fast corners and the chicanes even as well, because you can hook up a very late apex. This is Komakopa then. We'll have a good look at liveries now, shall we? So there's the white tail and the chrome nose of the Special K. Got some Alitalia. It's a defunct airline, Alitalia. But also GT Omega. We've got the Webbo symbols on there as well. And I think that is it's a veterans logo. That's presumably what our chat was talking about earlier on. This is a Styx special livery here for the Spotify team. Mr. Roboto on the nose, and also the veterans logo. And there's a rising sun symbol on the rear wing as well. This is then the Air Force Gaming livery from Chaotica for number 24, looking really nice as well. DAFGL. I'm assuming that's a gaming league. Very simple but effective livery then for the Puma Porsche of Bongit. And then teammate behind him as well. Do we have any veteran stickers on there? I can see Webbo stickers, but nothing honouring the troops. So Izzy, but he has got his I think that's the Colombian flag, and the stars and stripes there on the rear wing. This is an all black Mountain Dew, Buckeye Donuts on the front as well, but an all black Mountain Dew on one side and a kind of red and black tiger stripe. It is Code Red Mountain Dew, and if Mountain Dew are ever watching, I have not tasted any of them, so I can't comment on how good they are. Into the pits comes Preston, and we'll just track with some of these final ones. Then we've got proud to be an American, says don't need time. rocking the livery there, of course, for the troops, and 1776 on the rear arch as well. Danny explaining that it's cherry, that code red. Okay, well, probably quite like it actually then. Obviously, we've seen the Zin plenty of times. Team Zin not really going in for the special livery approach here today. Same livery for Preston we just saw, and Glovas, of course, and then Mercury rocking the default AMG Coca-Cola colour scheme as well. I can see the Webbo Rusty style sticker on the front wheel arch. Very nice indeed. And I've been trying to get a bit of a look at this one and understand it, but I think it's just covering ourselves in the Stars and Stripes for veterans wherever possible. So we wait then for the race to restart. We will have about 21 minutes of racing still to go. We have Nismo in place ahead of Comacopa. I'm expecting those lights on the safety car to come in now. So Anatol's still thinking that excuse me, I'm just trying to catch up with my live chat, that the exposure is okay. It just feels a bit over the top on my monitor, but maybe on the stream it's looking good. But Gran Turismo always facing headlights does tend to obscure the contrast a little bit of the racing cars. So I'm expecting to see those lights switched off if Arcane is listening in, because that should indicate that we're on our way in. Comacopa's got, just reminding anybody following him that he's got the PSVR 2 system and probably can't see anything behind the car very easily unless he happens to turn his head into his left and right mirrors, which is awesome in the VR system. I have to say, my favourite thing about that is being able to use your mirrors properly for the first time. I'll just take a quick drink. Excuse me a second. A hint of light still on that safety car, you know. But Nismo will get the green flag immediately when he crosses the start-finish line. And we will go green flag racing for the remainder of our race. Can anybody take the battle here to Nismo? Arcane comes into the pits, lights ablaze, but we will get underway now. All hazard lights are off. Nismo taking the inside line, but of course nobody can hit the loud pedal before the start of the start-finish line period. Let's go racing as we've got just 20 minutes remaining of the hour as Nismo heads into turn one. Zen very much on it here and trying to go the long way round. An outside-inside manoeuvre here against Comacopa, and Comacopa just holding ground through the next phase of the corners. Zen on the medium tyres, Comacopa on the old mediums that probably won't last very much longer, so he's going to be at a small disadvantage, slightly off the main strategy option here, but most drivers still with one pit stop to make, maybe two if they've one further pit stop to make. Most drivers will be in that situation. I think Comacopa is saving a pit stop. Zen moving to the inside. Comacopa not buying anything that Zen is selling as Kamzilla looks for an opportunity down into the inside. Berman was doing the same, and Bongit managed to go round Berman neat and tidy as you like. Bongit also on the older tyres here, but holding on quite nicely as we see Nismo then leading by 1.4 seconds after the first after this restart period, partly because Comacopa is trying to cope with these old tyres versus Zen. Comacopa a little bit loose, has been significantly loose and going over other drivers, ploughed furrows in the grass on the exit of the second chicane and losing out to Zen. So we may have a battle here for the lead on our hands now that Zen has caught back up, and we'll see if Zen can catch his teammate and we can have some spicy racing from the Spotify team. Chaotica looking to be the next one to pass Comacopa. Chaotica looking for that opportunity with Izzy in the VR system around the outside as well. Izzy cutting back very nicely indeed. He's still got the hazards on from his pit stop, but Izzy makes it through into fourth position. That was really nice from Izzy, I have to say. From the outside, much slower, wide entry, and then look at the timing of this cutback. Absolutely brilliant. Love to see it from Izzy, and that is wits about you. being able to really know what your car is doing, and I think that is probably advantage in the VR system. He's now up against a similar helmet driver of Komakopa, and looking down into the chicane. They'll go side by side. They'll have to tiptoe around here so that neither of them end up off the circuit. But Izzy on the ascendancy, back up now to third position, and he can go on the hunt now for Zen. But Izzy's on the medium tyres and will probably struggle with those tyres pretty soon. He'll have to pit as well to a finish. Komakopa holding on. He's lost 2 positions. That's Chaotica losing out to Camzilla, is it? Camzilla around the outside. We've got a yellow flag on the racetrack, and we've got cars left and right having issues. Who was that? That's actually Zen. It's Zen having a problem. Let's have a look what befell Zen here as he's chasing down his teammate. Yeah, it's that classic situation, just trying to pinch too much racetrack on the way in. He's going to feed back into the rest of the drivers in a really horrible way. I don't think they'll give him a thank you for that particular rejoin. But Zen, we almost had a race on our hands for the win, but Zen has binned it, unfortunately, and ended up causing a yellow flag as well. Car 83 down to 7th place, and he's back then on the hunt to come back. We are approaching 3/4 distance of our race at this stage. It is lap 26. Up ahead of this battle for Zen, we've got Don't Need Time and Chaotica going for the move on Camzilla. Down the inside we go. Anatol saying that corner is the absolute worst. It is indeed, yeah. You want to take the apex to straighten up the next corner, but you have to stay off that curve. 3 wide we go as Zen is having a look down the inside. We know he's a little bit nervous on the brakes down into this corner. Zen trying to pinch the apex as much as possible. Is that Zen? Off again. Zen spinning and just getting too greedy. And now when he's alongside Don't Need Time, he's got Camzilla and Glovas taking advantage of both of them on the way back through the order. What a manoeuvre there from Glovas. Let's follow Glovas on the way through. He was 9th going through this section, but he just managed to time this one. Look at this, round the outside, using all the grunt from his Chevy and up into 6th position. Great response there and timing from Glovas. What a manoeuvre to get all the way up to 6th place from 9th in the course of 2 corners. Great to see as Zen is now hounding around on the back of this group, and the race has absolutely lit up as the sun sets. And as we go, green flag racing after the safety car as well. Chaotica is in 4th position and looking for Izzy's 3rd. Izzy, and yes, rubbing wheel arches, but no harm, no foul. I think Chaotica barging past, and Izzy having to make his own arrangements. Izzy running out of those medium tyres. Chaotica likewise, but less so on the deck on his Ferrari. And through we go. The fastest corner, Camzilla trying round the outside. This is Cam also on the medium tyres. We'll see how deep into the race these drivers can go, whether they can get away with a second set of mediums or possibly even a set of softs at the death of our race here. Camzilla round the outside. Is this going to happen? No, he's forced out onto the apex in order to make the corner. I think that was more avoiding trouble than anything, as Glovas moves up to 5th place, and he's making a habit of this and just picking up positions while other drivers make a meal out of making overtakes. I think Glovas through then around that position again, and up the hill with the full power on that Chevy on display. That's Camzilla out on the grass again. Several drivers really struggling. This is Glovas going for 4th place down the inside of the final corner, up against the Puma Porsche of Izzy, and Glovas making it through as well. He's going to be a little bit slower down the start-finish straight, and Izzy pits. So Izzy will be was waiting for that pit stop, no doubt. Chaotica is in 3rd. We have Komakopa in 2nd place, but Nismo away in the distance, 9 seconds in the lead. Anatol loving what he sees from Glovas as well. Lots of drivers here supporting Glovas, partly I think because he does a lot of livery work for them, but nonetheless, Glovas with some great driving here in the second half of our race. We have lap 28. We have 13 minutes on the clock. We just had a pit stop from Izzy, and that's going to drop him down because he's pitting at full racing speed. Very few drivers on the hard tyres at this stage. They've just got one set of hards and took the pain early on. Just don't need time in 8th. Mercury in 9th. He is on the hard tyre and hoping, I think, to make the end of the race on those tyres maybe, or be able to strap on a set of softs right at the end. Lots of fuel on board for Preston, but I don't think those hard tyres are going to be very comfortable to the end. And then Bongit also catching Preston. This is over 10th position. Round the outside we go. Does that open up the first hairpin, sorry, for a better run? Bongit just dancing on the rears on the Porsche, staying away from the curb on the entry into the second chicane. Going for that cut back. Will the door be open for an opportunity into the final corner? Not quite. Can't tell if that was glowing brake discs or the metallic orange paint on the wheels for him, as we've got don't need time in the pits. This then is Bongit with a good run out of the final corner, and he's been working on this for 2 sectors to try and get the inside line, and I think it's going to happen for Bongit. Certainly seems to be enjoying better grip out there in the Porsche. But Preston, outside, inside, and back in front again for now 6th position. Several drivers pitting on that lap. Komakopa, the foremost of the drivers at the head of the field who pitted. This is Nismo then. Less than half a tank of fuel, certainly less than half a tyre left on that front right, which is the most limited tyre on the grid. Glovas, how is he keeping this Chevy pointing in the right direction with the state of that front right tyre? You'll have to pit very soon, if not on this lap, with about 10 minutes to go by the time they make it to the pit lane. Zen is in 3rd, Kamzilla is in 4th position, and they will also need to pit again before the end of the race. Will Glovas dive to the pit lane? He does dive to the pit lane, and so do the drivers following him. Oh, sorry, excuse me, that was way too early to call that. We will see as they go through. Surely Glovas wouldn't want to hang out on this tyre any longer. I would have thought that the medium tyre window is open for the final 10 minutes of our race. Nismo has passed the pit lane. Lots of drivers staying left. No, Zen is going to stay out for track position, and with a little bit of additional wear left on those tyres, will try and perform the overcut on the drivers he was just racing with there. You almost guaranteed that if you go in with a batch of drivers, unless you can shorter fuel than them, you're almost guaranteeing that you will come out in the same position. So try and do something different, as Preston out on the hard tyres is struggling on the way out of the final of the first corner. Not often you see that from the drivers, so it's clearly having difficulties out there. It's got plenty of fuel on board, the Chevy, but lacking a bit of grip on those older hard tyres at this stage. Might get them home, you never know, as T Deeds is in 5th place now, and his race has turned around a little bit as well. Almost dead last at certain stages of the race today, T Deeds. Again though, the hard tyre unlikely to make it to the end. Certainly the fuel tank going to struggle to make it to the end for him, as Glovas is back out and pushing hard here. 3/4 of a tank of fuel for 10 minutes of racing is just showing how much they're nervous about running out of fuel. We have seen drivers running out of fuel at the end of races this season. It has taken some effort to get it right. I see a few drivers getting ready for their GT4 World Challenge. We'll look forward to that to follow on this channel after this race. As Izzy trying to use that line. We've got Chaotica in 10th. We've got the leaders in the pit lane. We've got Nismo and Zen in. Mercury also in. So we'll see how all those drivers feature. There's Preston taking 2nd. Then 2nd place for Preston. So he has got some work to do to beat the drivers who've just pitted to a finish here. That's Glovas in 4th. He's just pitted on the medium tyres. His deficit, some 7 seconds. That's a lot to overcome to get onto the 3rd step of the podium for Glovas. But T Deeds and Preston will obviously be going slower than them. It's just a question of whether they can get home in the state that they're in at the moment. Medium tyres then for the drivers who've just pitted, for Camzilla in 5th, for Zen in 6th, and then we've got Izzy in 7th, who's having a better bit of pace right now, and he's fighting with S. Berman, who touches the rear of the Porsche, and you only need to just stick a finger out of the window and tap these cars, especially the Porsches, to send them spinning around. That's Izzy defending heavily into the first chicane and just about staying ahead at this stage. So it's on here for Glovas to chase down. He's already made up over a second on T. Deeds in 3rd place. So Glovas could end up with a decent result out of this one, trying to get the podium here. And he's got the fastest 3rd sector. It's a 4-sector racetrack here. We'll see if Glovas can monster this Chevy all the way to a new fastest lap. He has the fastest lap at the moment, a 34.7. Will he be able to better that now as into the pits comes T. Deeds? Gives up on those hard tyres. He's seen the gap shrink to the extent that it has done. And heading across the line, that is a new fastest lap, a 134.5 now for Glover, shaving 0.2 of a second off his previous best. Camzilla promoted to 4th, Zen in 5th, and Izzy and S. Berman continue the challenge. S. Berman managing to sneak up the inside there into the first corner of lap 32. Let's have another look at that one. This is Izzy, presumably S. Berman using the slipstream. Izzy slower away from the final corner, maybe because S. Berman did the job here. Izzy moved across, but S. Berman nabbed that inside line nonetheless. An absolute steal, that one from Berman, but Izzy is not happy to let that one lie. Nismo still leads us as usual here, but as usual to see a Spotify Lamborghini, I should say, out there at the head of the field. But Zen is down in 5th place and hasn't been able to recover from a couple of mistakes, or certainly incidents anyway. He's now trying to put Camzilla offline. Camzilla very, very defensive through the first hairpin. He'll be slower out, and Zen looks like he's managed to pressurize Cam into that mistake, unfortunately. So it was an easy pass there for Zen in the end, and Cam is running out of grip, I'm surprised to say, on new medium tyres. So Zen up to 4th place. Can he hunt down and pass Glovas, who has his teammate Preston in front of him? This could be a two-car podium for the Chevy team. I don't think anybody's going to touch Nismo out there, but it is still plenty to play for. Personal best lap from Zen, which he did while passing Camzilla. So a very neat and tidy lap from him. And then we've also got a battle, Berman and Chaotica. Chaotica flirting with disaster there. You can tip your rival round if you just hang out in their blind spot. Chaotica trying to get the flow of these first 4 corners right, while also having a very wide Mazda in front of him. That's Chaotica. Different engine notes as they pass the trackside camera position. Absolutely brilliant to see. That's S. Berman then in that 7th place, Chaotica in 8th, and then running back through the order, Komakopa down in 9th, and that's unfortunate. He was running in 2nd place for much of the start of our race. 4 minutes to go now. Mercury is in 10th. We have Don't Need Time in 11th place. Bongit down in 12th. Big surprise for me, as he qualified in 2nd place, and then T. Deeds at the back in 13th place. Recent promotee to the GT3 World Challenge, Don't Need Time, and well, you might argue slightly premature, but if he qualifies again in the playoffs at the end of the season, then he deserves his place. Very simply. So Preston has now been caught by Glovas, his teammate, and for the good of the team, I wonder if they will change places here. 3 minutes 33 on the clock as they cross the start-finish line, and it is a 1.1 second. It is indeed. I think Glovas is going to at least go for it, and he almost runs out wide, misjudging the corner. And Preston almost forced to retake the position again. I think he's going to blend the throttle, Preston, and give that place over, and now play rear gunner for this potential Team Mountain Dew 2-3 that is on the cards. But of course Zen is much more used to being up at in those podium positions than the Chevys, so he is going to be very greedy to try and get that position back, especially after an incident-filled race for Zen. He can try and rescue a podium from this if at all possible. He's going to look for an opportunity down the inside, but we've seen cars be able to both overtake and effectively defend from the outside, and that is exactly what just happened before Preston. He had a much better run through, as Respond has the grimace face emoji on the chat. This is absolutely tight here with the last 2.5 minutes to go before we call our race. Back here we've also got Izzy and Berman chasing hard. Rudy's saying, I don't know who to root for, teammate or brother. Well, I mean, if it was one of my kids, they would choose anybody but their brother. Oh, that's Preston and Zen having a problem. We just cut away from that battle, and I think that's Preston actually just playing it fair here. What happened to Preston? Throttle oversteer, on throttle oversteer from P3, opens the door for Zen down the inside. What happened next though? Preston, monstering the curb, puts Zen off onto the grass. Preston ends up on the grass himself, and I think releases his rival back into that third position. So Zen is in fourth. Camzilla got both of them. Let's just check out. I don't know if we're in time here. No, I don't think we are, unfortunately, in time to see what happened for Cam. But he obviously managed to get past both of them. This could be very, very useful points for Team Zin and the Mazdas. 1 minute 24 on the clock to go. I think that means that Nismo will have a victory lap all on his own, potentially. We will see as the drivers come through. No, I think they will manage to all finish on the same lap. It's not quite that embarrassing. Glovas is a distant second now, thanks to the fact that Zen and Preston came to blows. But can Camzilla hold on to the line here and try and defend this position? Zen is going to be going for it. He needs that third position. But Nismo is about to come out of the final corner. I think this is definitely going to be a 36th and final lap then for him. As we run through, there are still 40 seconds on the clock. So he is going to cross the line to start his final lap. This is Zen. Camzilla has now passed. I keep missing the overtakes. It's so annoying. What happened to Zen? It looks like a problem into the hairpin there for Camzilla, and Zen just stole it immediately. But still, the Mazdas, the team's in 4th and 5th right now, as Camzilla has released his teammate Berman to start all of their final laps. 12 seconds to go. I wonder if we'll get anybody finishing here. These are 10th and 11th positions coming across. T-Deeds, I think, might slow here to save a lap. And he didn't even need to slow. He did. He did cross the line, so he's not saving himself a lap. Look how distant Nismo is, given that we've only had 14 laps since the safety car actually came out. So 12 racing laps. Nismo is 21 seconds in the lead. He hasn't had Zen to fight with. Zen has taken second from Glovas, who I think is running out of those tyres once again. That front right has been the bane of Glovas' life today, and he's losing places hand over fist at this final stage of the race. Absolutely heartbreaking for Glovas, down to 4th from 2nd. But Nismo enters the final corner of the final lap of the penultimate round of our championship, and Nismo is going to win again, this time at Kyoto Driving Park, Yamagiwa. Nismo wins race 6 of our season 3.3. Zen is coming up to finish out this race as well, and a 1-2 for Team Spotify will be a very, very warmly received from the team managers, because it didn't look like it was going to finish that way at all. We've got lots of action happening further back. So Zen takes second. Let's just check out what happened further back here. This is Glovas in 5th. We've got drivers just queuing up. What on earth just went down with Camzilla and Komakopa? Everything going wrong on the final lap for our drivers. So this looks like it's going to be Berman taking 3rd position. We've got Izzy in 4th, Glovas in 5th, Chaotica, Preston, Mercury 7th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Don't Need Time in 9th, Bonga in 10th, Camzilla in 11th, Komakopa in 12th. T-Deeds is just taking his time here to give a good amount of time to Nismo here to take the plaudits from the non-existent forest crowd. Well, there's plenty of wildlife out there, I think, applauding Nismo's dinosaur livery. But tremendous stuff from Nismo to win once again here at in our race. We have Nismo then securing that position. Izzy from 4th. That's an exciting comeback from behind, says Anatol. Nathan shows the checkered flag there. And GG's to Nismo once again, who takes us to a finish here for the GT3 World Challenge. Coming up in about 10 minutes time will be the GT4 World Challenge, so plenty of time to just grab a snack and a drink and get comfortable for the GT4 World Challenge by Deviant Racing. There is a link, there will be a link at least in the previous video on the playlist to join Deviant Racing if you so wish. That is Zen in 2nd and S. Berman in 3rd. Is he driving around in 4th at the moment? I think, though, he finished. Yeah, he did finish in 4th. So just rocking the late 90s McLaren suit is Nismo. Pole position, clean race. Everything going the way of Nismo. I don't know if he managed to get fastest lap. He did, indeed, a 1:33.7. So he got absolutely everything from this round. Nismo wins from Zen and Berman on our podium. So it's Team Spotify P1 and P2 and Team Zin Mazda in P3. The Porsches of Izzy... Porsche of Izzy came in 4th with Globas in 5th in the end. Chaotica and Preston and Mercury managing to profit from Camzilla and Comacopa's absolute shambles of a final lap. Don't Need Time in 9th, Bonget in 10th, and T-Deeds in 13th position. Fantastic racing. Thank you so much to all the people who've already liked the video and are current subscribers of the channel. From me, Webbo, from us here at Deviant Racing's GT3 division, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.